Hi. Good morning, my lovely ladies. I was thinking about this the other day, and I gave you this theme chart, and I wanted to go over it with you. So today, in this video, I'm going to go over the theme chart assignment and what is exactly that I expect you to do and how you can accomplish this, because I realized in your lessons today, it might be a little bit confusing. So we're going to talk just a little bit about theme, and I'm going to explain to you how I want you to fill out this chart. This is going to be something that you will continuously go back to as you read the novel. So I want to make sure that we're doing it right. You'll see your study guide that I put together for you. I apologize for the wonky hole punches. I don't know why the last page is hole punched different than the others. I am not a master at, I was using paper that was already hole punched, and I think I put it in backwards, but for whatever reason, the last page decided to be the right way. Everything else is wrong. If that's bothering you, go ahead and hole punch them. Poke a pencil through it or something. It's not a big deal, okay? So now, you're going to start reading The Giver, which is one of my favorite books. I really like it, even though the ending is kind of, it's a little bit of a cliffhanger. But the book is really good, and everybody really likes it because it's really well written. Lois Lowry is an excellent writer. You'll understand the cover here after you get through the first couple chapters. But what I want you to do is look at this first page here, the theme chart. Now, this is a chart that you're going to fill out throughout the entire book. Now, a theme, and I think I had you watch a little video on theme, but a theme is basically a life issue or a life lesson that runs throughout the entire book. Sometimes authors do this and put themes in on purpose, and sometimes they sort of develop as the book develops. And the authors don't necessarily put it there on purpose, but then once they realize this is what's happening, they might kind of play it up a little bit. For example, in The Christmas Carol, we know that Charles Dickens wanted to examine wealth and poverty and the distance between the wealthy people in the society and the poor people. And that was one of the purposes as to why he wrote The Christmas Carol. So you can see that through the entire novel, where he's talking about the distance and how the poor people lived versus how the rich people lived. In The Giver, there are several themes, and I listed them for you in the lesson, and you are going to choose one. Now, I gave you general themes. I didn't give you like theme statements. I gave you kind of like the topic of the theme, the topic that the theme examines, because you're going to come up with your own statement about the theme at the end of the novel after you've traced it through the entire book, okay? So while you're reading, you need to have this in your mind. So when you come up with and come across something that is said in the book that relates to your theme, I want you to record it here on this chart. Now this chart has two sides. There's this side, and then there's another page that has some more blanks. And you might even end up with a separate piece of paper. It just kind of depends on what your theme is and how observant you are. But you should be getting one per chapter. Maybe not in the first chapter because it's an introductory chapter. Some of the shorter chapters, maybe not, depending on what your theme is. But you should be seeing things frequently that have to do with your theme. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you okay, these are from chapter 2. And if you chose this theme, it's okay for you to use these examples, okay? So for example, if you are examining family and the importance of family love and the family unit, you might find on page, let's see, where is it? Page 8, I believe, which I think is part of chapter 1. Towards the middle of the page, they're talking about the little baby that Jonas's dad is concerned about. And if you haven't read yet, it's okay. This isn't a huge spoiler. You'll get to it. Maybe we could even keep him, Lily suggested sweetly, trying to look innocent. The look was fake. Jonas knew. They all knew. Lily, Mother reminded her, smiling, you know the rules. 2 children, 1 male, 1 female to each family unit. It was written down very clearly in the rules. Lily giggled. Well, she said, I thought maybe just once. So this relates to family, and it also relates to the conformity following the rules theme. So if you have one of those themes, you can use this. So what you would do is you write the page number, which is page 8. Then here where it says insert in the book, you're either going to quote directly or you're going to write a summary. For this particular one, I probably would just go ahead and quote that sentence where it says, 2 children, 1 male, 1 female to each family unit. And I would you just copy it directly right there, okay? Because this is a short one. If it's like a whole paragraph, you're gonna have to summarize. Then, how does the incident relate or give information about the theme? Okay, and this it depends on your theme. So if your theme is family, then you would say it explains how the family unit is put together in this society. Or if your theme is freedom, you would say people don't have the choice as to how their family is made up. Something like that. Okay, so here I'll give you another example. We're going to go in on page 12, which I believe is chapter 2. This is where father is talking about the little baby and bringing the little baby home. So this is like an honesty. This is an honesty example. Okay, so if you were looking into honesty versus lying, that sort of thing in this book. Father says, I could have sneaked a look at the list prior to the ceremony, Father confided. The committee always makes the list in advance. They're talking about the names, the naming ceremony, which the naming ceremony, of course, has to do with your freedom. So that would be, if you're a freedom theme, you're going to take note of whenever they're talking about these ceremonies, okay? The committee always makes a list in advance, and it's right there in the office at the nurturing center. As a matter of fact, he went on, I feel a little guilty about this, but I did go in this afternoon and look to see if this year's naming list had been made up yet. It was right there in the office, and I looked it up, number 36. That's the little guy I've been concerned about, because it occurred to me that it might enhance his nurturing if I could call him by a name, just privately, of course, when no one else is around. Did you find it? Jonas asked. He was fascinated. It didn't seem a terribly important rule, but the fact that his father had broken a rule awed him. He glanced at his mother, the one responsible for the adherence to the rules, and was relieved that she was smiling. So then he goes on to talk about his name, and they talk about how they can't let anybody know that they know this little baby's name. So that has to do with secrecy and honesty. And in this case, was it a good thing that he snuck and broke the rules to help the baby, or should he have followed the rules? And so you can examine this. So you would put page 8 here. Incident in the book. I would summarize this one. You can't quote it. There's not enough space. So father snuck in and found the name of the baby and then told the family that they have to keep this a secret. Then how does this relate to the theme? Of course, this is the theme of honesty. So I would say here that, or it could be the conformity. Okay. Father broke the rules because he felt like it was the right thing to do, but he told everyone they had to lie about it and keep it secret. Okay, so this is what you're doing. So one more example, just to make sure that we get it, okay, because I would like for us to be doing this in class together, but of course we're not. So here we are. We're doing the best we can, right? Okay, so page 17, this is also chapter 2. I'm not going to spoil anything that you're not supposed to be reading. All right, page 17, when they talk about the ceremonies. Whenever they talk about the ceremonies, there's a lot of themes in here, especially the themes of choice versus individuality and your themes of sameness versus individuality. I mean, choice versus control, and then sameness versus individuality. Excuse me. So here he says, well, it's the last of the ceremonies. They're talking about the ceremony of 12. Which you'll read more about because Jonas is about to go through the ceremony of 12. That's one of the big parts of the book because his whole life is going to change because he's now technically an adult and has to go through, now he's going to have to train for his job, which becomes, you'll see. Okay. All right. Well, it's the last of the ceremonies, as you know. After 12, age isn't important. Most of us even lose track of how old we are as time passes. Though the information is in the Hall of Open Records, and we could go look it up if we want to. What's important is the preparation for adult life and the training you'll receive in your assignment. So here in this paragraph, they're talking about how after you turn 12, nobody counts their age anymore. Everybody's pretty much the same. Until you get to a certain age, and then later they'll talk about, you'll get where they talk about when you get to like retirement age. Then age counts again. But for this whole part of your adult life, nobody's paying attention to age. And that's part of your sameness versus individuality. So everybody's the same. All the adults are the same. Nobody's older than anybody else. So what you would do is, this is on page 17, okay? So you're going to write on here, page 17, and then you're going to put in here, after the ceremony of 12, people stop keeping track of their age. And then you're going to put, all adults are the same age. There's no difference. And that's how it relates to sameness. So those are some examples for you. Feel free to email me if you have questions, and I will try to, post videos and explain some of these things to you, because there's a lot of really good stuff in this book. I love this book. I hope you have fun reading it. I kept one of the more damaged ones for myself. Take care of these books. They are good books. It's going to suck you in, and you will like it. If you read ahead, that's fine. I don't mind if you read ahead, but you're still going to have to go back and do like the review questions and things like that with us. But if you're reading ahead, keep track of your theme the entire time you read. Don't neglect to do this. You don't want to have to go back and find these things, because there will be a paper written about theme, and you will have to know examples, and you'll have to know what page these things happened on, okay? Now, if something happens over a couple of pages, then just put that it was a few pages, it was page 13 to 15 or whatever, and that's okay. You can do that. So you'll see that there might be like an entire section that deals with the theme that you're looking at. And so that's kind of a lot, and that's okay. And you might even end up with more than one example on a certain page. So you just keep putting that same page because they keep coming back to it, or there's different specific examples. Keep track of this. Try to be as specific as you can, because it will help you when you go to write your theme paper at the end of the novel. And hopefully we'll all be together by that time. But if not, then we're just going to make it work. I hope you all have a very nice day. Bye.